I think it's rather sad, predictable, and pretty pathetic the way politicians and our media class sort of gaslight the public and treat us like we're, a massive bunch of idiots. I've seen so many sort of tweets and newspaper articles and things like that from politicians and people in the media. Saying sort of silly things like, why does anyone care that Keir Starmer went to see a Taylor Swift concert? As if that's the point, as if that's what everyone, is worked up about. When in reality, of course, no one cares about that. I mean, I think it's a bit sad that a 60-year-old man would go to a Taylor Swift concert, but that's by the by. He's a free person. If that's what he chooses to do and how he chooses to spend his free time, that's entirely up to him. Of course, as they know, I mean, they're just gaslighting the public and treating us all as idiots. But as everyone knows, the real issue is that Keir Starmer and his team accepted bribes in the form of concert tickets to provide taxpayer-funded police security for Taylor Swift and her entourage. Now, that is a very, very unusual thing to do in the UK. Police-funded state security is usually reserved for extremely senior politicians. I remember I used to watch David Cameron, Tony Blair. I used to always see his entourage when I was at university go past in central London. This enormous entourage with bikes that stop half the street. But they'll do similar things like that for senior royalty, Prince Charles and people like that. I've never seen of it being used or heard for anyone else, whether that be even sort of people like the Beckhams or senior pop stars and big pop stars and things like that. I've never heard of it being used for those sort of people before. And I don't believe there is precedent for that. I mean, Taylor Swift is a multi-millionaire many times over. She's possibly even a billionaire. And I'm very sorry that she's had terrorism threats against her. I think that's it's an awful situation. She's had them in multiple countries, not just the UK. But she can afford to hire her own security team. She's coming over here to make profit from her concerts. She can afford that's the security costs have to part of the offset of that. You can't expect the country to provide me taxpayers to provide her security just so she can make more profit. That's bang out of order. So of course that's the issue. It's deeply inappropriate for people like Keir Starmer to accept thousands of pounds worth of concert tickets, in exchange for effectively spending taxpayers' money. And of course, the media and politicians have fallen for this. They think that we're that stupid. I remember with Boris Johnson and the Partygate, and of course Keir Starmer with whatever he did, his little meeting that he had during the with drinks and things during the pandemic. They were saying things like, oh, the public really that bothered about a piece of cake. Anyone who's concerned about Boris Johnson having a piece of cake is an idiot. Again, of course, that wasn't the real issue, was it? The real issue was that some of us couldn't even see, people couldn't even see loved ones dying in hospital. I mean, I had a friend that was hemorrhaging blood, and because she had COVID, she was absolutely fine from the COVID, but she was hemorrhaging blood, bleeding internally. They wheeled her out into a car park and refused to treat her. It was only when her husband had to kick up an enormous fuss that they actually got her in and her life was saved. But it's supposedly that serious, but then people like Boris Johnson are meeting up, breaking all the rules and having cake. That was the issue. The issue was not him having cake itself. We're not morons. But it's it's a pathetic and cynical attempt to try and sort of trick the public and sort of trivialise serious issues and say, oh, it's just a very small sort of mind little thing of having a bit of cake or having a concert ticket. Of course, that's not the issue that the public were concerned about, is it? That's not what the scandal's about. But of course, no one's that stupid. The public aren't that stupid. So in reality, people that say that just make themselves look stupid and really very, very pathetic. So it is what it is. Anyone that has written that in an article or put that on a tweet or social media or whatever, people see it for what it is, and no one falls for that.